evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and really welcome to our very first LeadForward podcast series. And this particular podcast series really sets to explore remarkable journeys of impactful female leaders, and in particular in various sectors which are not well known in the markets, to elevate excellence, elevate women, and elevate people in society in large. This evening, I'll be your host, Thuto Masasa. As I've already introduced myself, I am the National Head of Advisory at BDO. And as indicated earlier on, for our very first episode of the LeadForward series, we've got Buhle Hanise, who is the recently appointed Head of Restructuring Services at BDO South Africa. And Buhle will be sharing her remarkable journey, leading her into spearheading this really, really remarkable team into the insights, as well as basically what she sees the future of the business to be. So welcome, Buhle.
Thanks, my boss.
Right. So, Buhle, let's start with your inspiring journey. Could you perhaps maybe share with us where it all started, particularly the accounting and maybe the journey that you've explored getting to where you are today?
Yeah. Look, I think even with my speech, I did allude to it, that I knew of accountancy at a very early age. And then I was introduced to chartered accountancy by Cindy Zilwa, co-founder of the organization that I'm currently the president of, serving and making sure that there's a pipeline of CAs in South Africa. And I mean, I was young. I'm sure I was probably, 12 years or something, very young. But I got my dad to do the research about CA. What is this thing? My mom wanted me to be a doctor. Obviously, you know how it was those days. Either you're a doctor or a lawyer or or a teacher, a nurse, and all of that. This CA thing wasn't well known. So it was quite nice for me, because also she was the second black female CA. Nonkululeko Koboto was the first black female CA in South Africa. And they are both my homegirls. And Cindy went to the same school as me. So as part of the mandate that I spoke about, that AWCA required them to all go back to their schools to talk about the profession and all of that. And I always talk about it because it's literally come full circle that now I'm the president of that organization. That
amazing.
That 22 years ago they wanted to make sure that a person from Ngeleni in Mthatha/Transkei can get an opportunity to become a CA. And that's how it all started. I never wavered. I went through dips and ups, but I never wavered. I wanted to become the CA. And when I was doing my articles, I wanted to be in the financial services industry to do my articles. But I sometimes do believe that God's intervention has a way of just carrying you through your journey, because I ended up doing my articles in consumer markets, which was amazing because I didn't only do manufacturing companies, but I also got an opportunity to do service industry. And then, the financial services industry bug hit. I went and I ended up doing credit at Nedbank and Standard Bank. Boring. I'm sorry for my friends who are still there. Musala and I met actually there at Standard Bank. We moved on the same day to the IDC, which is post-invest credit. And the reason why I'm highlighting that is because I felt like there was something more I could do. But I never understood what post-investment really meant until I was in it, that you're actually doing so much. The work and the impact that you make by restoring some of these businesses, and being in a developmental financier made it even more impactful, because that's the mandate of the IDC. So it did give me that opportunity. And by the time I left the IDC, I was already leading that team. We had to introduce business rescue to the IDC. Nobody wanted this thing. They didn't understand it. What is this thing? What is this business rescue? Why can't you just do normal restructuring? But I said, guys, whilst I'm busy talking to Thuto, whilst I'm busy talking to Lizelle, somebody else is coming in behind me and liquidating this business. This is actually a good opportunity for us to sit in one room, make a decision as a set of creditors and say, this is how we're going to save this business. Unlike, yes, the other restructuring forms of restructurings are also quite critical, but I found that the team that I was starting up at the time was critical. And then I did get an opportunity to be seconded by the IDC to be a CFO of Bike. That also helped with my leadership journey. And that's when Davy and Hans stole me to come to BDO, which I think at the back of my mind, I knew I'm not a normal debit credit.
Well, let me just say you made the right move.
I made the right move. So that's been my journey. And I think it just, everything that I stepped on was a manifestation of my dream of being the CA, a professional that can do almost anything. I don't think there's nothing I can't do. I can go into corporate finance tomorrow. I can be back into audit. Oh, and then Thuto, I wanted to be a partner at KPMG.
Right.
And life happened. That financial services bug hit, but life happened. But I've come full circle.
Right.
I'm now a director in an audit firm. Can you believe it? Even though I am in advisory.
That's remarkable. That's a very remarkable journey, Buhle. And perhaps I think earlier on there were quite a number of conversations around your leadership, I think also beyond just your normal technical work that you do. Perhaps maybe you can take us into your confidence on, what shaped that particular leadership and what are the pivotal things that shaped your leadership?
Sure. I think for me, more than anything, I was fortunate enough to have mentors, and a term called sponsorship came later on in my life. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. We knew you had to have a mentor, but you also had to do counseling. Go deal with yourself as well, right? That's another thing. But the sponsorship leg, I didn't understand it until I met the late Basi Magwane at the IDC. Amazing guy. May his soul rest in peace. And I don't know, Thuto, there's also attributes of my upbringing that came into it because Diapap, I am well known to speak out loud. I always tell people what I want and what I don't want. And at that environment, I was allowed to be ubuhle. And when I picked that up, that there are people who actually appreciate this paparing girl who every time gets an increase letter or a promotion is asking, so what's the next promotion? Because I'm always aiming for the next thing, right? And this guy didn't take offense of this girl. Every time I give her an increase, that she wants more. I'm like, but what's the next one? And I was in an environment where, and throughout my career, yes, I did go through some difficulties in some organizations, but I think that's where I learned to be a leader, to take control of my own journey as a person, as this professional, as this confident person. Even if I don't know something now, I would say I know it. Then I'll call somebody and say, Alicia, do you know this? Quickly send me a message. How do you do this? And because of that, that was the reason why I even got 3 people sitting at Exco who said, there's a vacancy for a CFO role. Buhle hasn't done financial management ever. She was a restructuring specialist, but they felt that it was important for me. So the upbringing, the confidence, Cindy did say, I'm a daddy's girl. My dad, shame, he wanted a boy, but he found this girl, treated me like the boy that he wanted.
Sure.
I remember I was telling somebody, I think it was you, David, I was telling David that my dad even wanted me to water the plants in the garden. That's why I'm not, guys, I don't want to do anything now because I was, I did all these things. And he would check if I've watered the garden, because I'm like this, I'm treated the same way as he would have treated his boy child. So the confidence came from there and that leadership attributes came there. But I think my opportunity to actually start leading teams was based on that sponsorship leg that I got at the IDC.
I will hop on the idea of self-development, or rather maybe having enough sort of interest in your own sort of journey, and then the sponsorship and mentorship being critical sort of maybe key journeys.
Yeah.
And then on this leadership, maybe line of questioning, the last one that I just want to check with you. Earlier on, we spoke about diversity and we spoke about collaboration.
Yes.
Quite in a little bit of detail. So how do you foresee that playing within your teams going into the future, into the role that you're going to take now?
Sure. In the past year and a half or so, it's really been instrumental in the success of the business, I think. The opportunities that we have received just by talking to somebody from tax, just by talking to a stakeholder, the people that are in the room today, has really helped us to ensure that we understand that it's critical. You can't do it on your own. For you to be able to collaborate with others does give you that, it does provide value add for the client, but also it gives you comfort that you will be able to deliver on whatever goal you have for that specific client. But more than anything, I think the inclusivity part of it helps because you don't have all the right skills. You don't have all the technicalities. A simple client will go into thinking that you're just going to help them to unbundle. Sometimes all you find out is the client actually needs tax help or needs you to help them with the mergers and acquisitions. That means you're bringing in your corporate finance team to come help you. I think the mentality of going solo doesn't work because then you're not going to deliver to the client. And being as much as, yes, at some point you will be sharing the fees, I would rather share the fees with my peeps than not have the fees at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. And the audience love that. Now, Buhle, going back again as a newly appointed head of restructuring, without a doubt, you become a shining star and a hope for many other people behind. And more than anything, I think also a bit of an education conduit. How do you feel about that? And what's the challenge?
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm overjoyed because I know what I can bring to the party. And I believe that I've got the right structures in place to be able to implement our plan. We still have a long way to go from kind of getting onto things because now there's this new person. I understand that. And I'm ready for that challenge as well. I was telling somebody earlier on last week in Cape Town, somebody said, "Are you the new hands or the young hands?" I said, "No, I am Buhle. Right? Yes, guys. This guy. Shout out to him. Him and Davi started this business so many years ago, right? And there is an element of sure I can't disappoint them. They made, they were young attorneys doing whatever they were doing, and they've been able to stick around for this long. But I think having a bigger structure like BDO provides gives me also that comfort that should anything I'm not sure of, I'll call you to I'll call Bonga, I'll call Bert, I'll call Kevin at FS, I'll call whomever I need to call because I've got this big wealth of expertise of people who are willing to work with us. We all have the same goal in mind to make this business work, to make sure that, my other leg is a CA. We want BDO to be known as the, we might remove one of the firms actually. Number one, right? We all have this big goal. We've got so many plans as BDO, both in the African continent and globally. And we know what the vision of my department is and the bigger goal of BDO, South Africa and globally. So there is that alignment. So I'm really excited and I'm overjoyed. There are those little things on the sides that say, okay, I can't sleep today. What am I worried about? Yeah, I'm human after all.
Sure.
But I think because I know that I've got this strong army behind me. And when I talk about strong army, not just work, but also the personal side. And you guys heard me say talk about my husband as my emotional stakeholder. Like this morning, I called him. I said, this thing of you working at the mine, hey, it doesn't work. I want you home. Like, then I'm thinking, hey, guys, Shep, this poor husband of mine supports me. I do so much to do, but he's there, he supports me, but I'm still complaining. But he's like, no, calm down. He said to me, I think you never support tonight. And just, I think because also I'm a Libra, I do like balancing things out. Work-wise, I've got this strong army. Personally, I've got the strong army. You saw my big sisters here. I'm here just to conquer the world, honestly.
I'll actually ask you one last question, and I'd like to see if then the audience tonight has further questions. Just to get into maybe your crystal ball, how do you see then the future of the business restructuring business and your team?
I think it was very intentional to do even today to make sure this is not just us as BDO sitting here. The guru of stakeholder management is that one and that one. They've taught me that it's always important to keep your networks. I would have loved, guys, for this room to be bigger. But in all honesty, it can be bigger. It will be bigger because a simple thing of making sure that one of our regional heads is here from the Eastern Cape here. I was telling him that actually, the universe works in mysterious ways because in my head, I was thinking, hey, I need to go to the Western Cape. I need to go to this. I've got so much that I want to do. But I do believe that what's important is just for me to make sure that I'm visible.
Right.
I am understood to be trying to project that BRS is an extension of a distressed or soon to be distressed environment, whether it's a business, whether it's an organization. And I see us continuing to be a collaborative team that ensures inclusivity is at top of mind. My team, Thuto, you must, I sometimes sit there and listen to Angie and Annika speak about liquidations, curatorships and all of that. Then I'm like, these people are so clever. Like, why we should be doubling our revenue. So I'm always thinking about ways to make sure that everybody knows, my team knows all this. They do this estate. Angie the other day wrote an article about divorces, what the impact and all of it. And we haven't even tapped that much of that section. And sitting here, I know that it's a reality. People do go through divorces. We need to continue with this education because then, like revenue, profit, it's happening, right? So it is an ongoing journey. But looking forward, I see us growing even more. But at the core of it all, I want to make sure that we continue to collaborate with all relevant stakeholders and understanding that there's certain skills that we probably need to, tap on. And that's something I'm open to, but also making sure that all regions of South Africa understand and know who we are.
Great. That is amazing. So I just want to check before perhaps we close. Is there any burning question that anybody has for Buhle? wants to get into her mind, intrigued anyhow? No.
I said it all.
Okay. As they say, silence is indeed golden. So,
Okay.
Bushle, thank you for
Thank you
sharing
so
those
much, Thuto.
insights. As they do say, truly, yeah, dynamites. Sometimes they do come in small packages.
Really, Emma?
It's
so
really
much,
been
my
a
boy.
pleasure of having you here. And well, that is a wrap for our first episode of Lead Forward series. And look out for the next set where we do get to interview really captains of industries and specifically women, so we can continue the journey of teaching and learning and showcasing excellence and elevating indeed people, society,
Yeah.
and business. Thank you.